copy of the final death of the trees from?
No, the deal I had to show.
Yeah, and I think there was a copy in your mailbox.
Another copy in the
Was there?
Anyway, I told you 465.
65, wasn't
It was even less than that.
I mean, that was, I bet, you know, I heard,
You
yeah.
have a copy, that's your copy, just for reference.
429 actually.
That was a heck of a deal.
That was a good deal, and the trees were very healthy, and she gave you the watering things too, which is key. I think from now on, it seems like maybe the people go to, they support them, you know, and they're close enough.
Yeah, I mean, support locally.
Yeah.
I
don't know if her name was Sarah or not, but.
No, her name is Sarah.
But she did a good job for us,
They
so I
named it
appreciate
after,
that.
years ago, somebody we asked years ago, and I think they named it after their daughter. I
Okay.
think their daughter was Sarah.
Dave, we're ready whenever you are.
Oh, okay. So there's
No videotape tonight?
It's here now. And they have a tripod right there. They purchased that.
oh, very good.
That makes it easier. You
Okay.
can do it right from your seat.
All right. Well, we'll begin the meeting now, I guess. 12 o'clock. The fire exits are out the door to the either end of the hall, left or right. The location of the AED is the kitty corner of the conference room. If you have cell phones or pages, please turn off for the duration of the meeting. And I'll ask Cheryl to take the roll, please.
Clark Mahaney,
Here.
Janine Klopp,
Here.
Dave Welch,
Here.
Steve Rutherford,
Here.
and Carrie Whipple is absent.
Very good, thank you, Cheryl. Everybody get a copy of the minutes from the last meeting? We have now, but anybody have everybody had a chance to look them over?
I see one typo. I think it's a typo.
Okay.
On page 2, under the Friends of Hamlin Beach report, second sentence, as of November 1st, there will be no entrance fee. The word no was omitted. No entrance fee to enter the park.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else, Jane?
I don't think so.
Okay. With that correction, could I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second?
I'll second.
Very good, thank you. Poll the votes, Cheryl.
Clark Mahaney,
Yes.
Janine Klopp,
Yes.
Dave Welch,
Yes.
Steve Rutherford.
Abstain. All right. Make a comment now in the public forum. The public forum open for now for the duration of the meeting. And if any questions or any comments from the public, please feel free to offer them. And then we'll go right into the reports. And Janine, the planning board.
I did not attend the planning board meeting, but I did get a copy of the
Okay,
minutes.
very good. Can you have a minute to go over them?
The only thing on the agenda on Monday, November 1st, was a work session for NextEra Energy / Helios Energy at 1764 Walker Lake, Ontario Road. This is a proposed solar facility, and it was a work session, and they were looking for feedback on their newly revised site plan submission. They made a few changes since the last meeting. The access road, this is, you and I went to this site. The access road was moved from the north location to a south location, and the titles were changed to represent the correct address of the project. The preliminary plans at this point from the company are they really only represent about 30% of the project. So at this point, Chairperson Chris Schleider said that this is the town's site plan to review to possibly become lead agency. And the other entities that the town has to send submittals to other agencies to require full complete plans. So basically, the town engineer J.P. Shep looked at this submission. There were still a lot of things that he had requested of them that had not been dealt with. The attorney said this is only a submittal of plans. There's no approvals at this point, since it is basically only about a third complete. The board should see this again when they have a complete site plan, so they can determine whether to say yes or no. So it was really just left at that they just looked at a few things, and that was it.
That was it for the board? That was it?
That was it. There was nothing else on the
Very
agenda.
good. Quite, you know, other than that, quite, easy. Okay, very good, thanks, Janine. Steve, being sick, did you have a chance to go to the Fishing Advisory Board or EMC last month?
Yeah,
Okay.
the Fish Advisory Board, we're continuing to update our web design. It should be finished by the end of the month so that we can look at it to approve it, and hopefully this will get us up higher on the web chain when people go to look for places to fish. We should be right up there with everybody else. Couple of exciting things. We had Joe Sevinger, who does fishing shows, did a film on Sandy Creek last week. And a couple of interesting things coming down the road. Number one, the Major League Fishing program that's a spinoff from Bassmasters Classics are looking at visiting Rochester for one of their tournaments. Now they have several tournaments. The guys don't know where they're going. They wind up all at a hotel, and in the middle of the night they wake everybody up and they put them in a boat and they wheel them out to some place that they've never fished before. And Rochester is one of the areas that they're looking at. Probably be somewhere around the Irondequoit base, since that has the most parking. But they usually bring in pretty close to a couple $1 million on a weekend that they have this thing and stuff, because not only do the guys show up, but their families travel with them, and of course with their families they got to go out and eat and find things for them to do.
How many guys are we talking about?
There can be anywhere from 10 to 50.
Big group, can be big or small, actually.
Yeah, and depending upon who is designing the tournament for the area. The most exciting thing is right now DEC and the canal authorities are collaborating to do a pilot program to let waters into the tributaries. Now we know, and I reported on this before, that they have done it at certain times of the year. They did it for a week in September, a couple weeks in October, and this first week in November, and stuff where they let water in from the canal to simulate rainfall periods.
Right.
However, now what they're trying to thinking of doing is opening the valve permanently to get an increased water flow during the summertime into Sandy Creek. And Sandy Creek is going to be a pilot program for this. Years ago, Oak Orchard Creek and the Canal Authority conspired with each other, and Oak Orchard Creek won. And so they have that constant water flow all the time, and they have a great fish return. And so they're gonna do it as a pilot program on Sandy, hopefully this next year. And the other thing that they're going to do, or DEC is trying to do, is to buy the easements from the landowners for people to fish on Sandy Creek. There's not a whole lot of places to fish on Sandy. And over the last month, there's been no less than probably 20 to 30 cars lined up between both Church Road and up by my house on 19 and stuff.
Oh, there's a lot of people fishing off the West Fork along.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Along the road there, they parked it.
Yeah.
And also at Redmond Road too.
At Redmond Road and stuff. There's not a place that isn't filled with fishermen. I'll be glad when it's over, because these guys are getting there at 3:30 in the morning and parking. They're loud, they're obnoxious. They wake my kids up, and I get highly upset when that happens, because when the kids are up, Papa's up. And
If they, because our property's on Sandy Creek, also west of Redmond Road.
mm-hmm.
And when people fish Sandy Creek, they often will just walk up the creek, in the creek.
Yep.
So if they're gonna increase the water flow, does that mean that it'll force the fishermen, will they still be able to walk in the creek? How much?
Yeah, they will
Because
be.
they generally don't tend to walk on our property. If they do, occasionally, but most of the time we see them actually walking
Yeah.
in the creek.
Well, what happens when they buy the easement rights is the fishermen will have 3 feet either side of the creek to walk. Unless there's a large obstacle, then they can walk around. However, what they don't understand right now is that while the water is free and stuff, the land underneath it isn't. You own that land and stuff. If you wanted to charge them to walk through that water, you could very well do that and put a stop to people walking the creek. Down at John Dady's property, there's people all the time that get awful mouthy down there that when we kick them off from John's place. And well, how do you expect me to get back? Swim. And I've got DEC on speed dial, and
We actually had one incident where we looked out and saw somebody actually driving a truck in the creek.
yeah.
People do strange things.
Yeah, and it's like, we lease me and 5 other guys, we lease the hunting rights down on Church Road. And it's the same thing every morning. And it's like, it's getting impossible for us to hunt down there, because the guys are loud, they're obnoxious, they're walking in the creek, And, you know, plus they're leaving tons of trash. You know, and yeah, it's a great economic boom. We don't have too much here in Hamlin to offer them because we don't have any hotels for them to stay at, or you know, only a couple restaurants. You know, at night they go back to wherever their hotel is. Most of them stay in Brockport. So, you know, we're not gaining anything from it here by having them here. I'm losing a lot of sleep over having them here. So those are the things that are happening. The Fish Advisory Board. Like I said, we're hoping that our web design is going to up our people looking at Lake Ontario, not so much the tributaries. As far as the EMC goes, I didn't get I got the email that they were gonna have it, but I never got the link to get it on Zoom.
Okay.
I'm sitting there going, what's going on? Partially could have been some of my fault, because I just switched over to a brand new Apple phone.
So it was on Zoom meeting, was a Zoom meeting then?
Yeah, it was a Zoom meeting, but I do it on the computer.
Right.
But I gotta have the Zoom numbers to get to it.
Right.
And I don't know if Star O'Neill, who was the coordinator for the county on the EMC, sent just me the emails. I hope it went to Eric, and that they have to, every year we have to be, or they have to be told by the powers that be here that this is who we're sending to the board.
Right. And you're gonna continue that for this year, right?
Huh?
You're gonna continue that next year?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't mind when I can.
When it all goes together. When it all comes together, you don't mind it, right?
Yeah. Sometimes it's difficult. I mean, this is the third missed meeting for me. One was COVID related, of course.
Well, it's a little more difficult now because of COVID, but yeah. Okay, well, hopefully everything comes together for you.
So, you know, I love the meeting. I volunteered for the wetlands committee. So, I don't know what the plan is, so.
All right. Maybe she make a call to start, just let her know that this is what's happening that you couldn't do because at least you know that you're still interested in participating. Very good. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Glad you're feeling better.
Thanks.
I will send it to
Clark?
Eric. I'll make up the letter and send it to Eric.
Thanks, Sharon. Appreciate that. Yeah, very good. Thank you, Sharon.
I didn't attend the meeting, but I do have the minutes
Go ahead.
for the November 8th meeting. They had a couple of budget transfers, and then they went to the local number 2-221 about the cannabis retail dispensaries and about opting out. And it was motion was carried to opt out. Then there was a resolution for a deposit the Navstar engine settlement check into the highway equipment reserve fund, and that was carried, and that was in the amount of $2,461.07. And then a resolution to authorize the supervisor to execute amendment number 5 to the agreement between the town of Hamlin and ESL Federal Credit Union. And that would be to extend the agreement for 5 years commencing January 1st, 2022 and ending December 3rd, 2026. And there will be one more additional 5-year option to renew, and that motion was carried. And Supervisor Peters reported that he's making sure the budget is filed. The reimagined canal meetings at the Scout Park had the landscape designer and others working on the project there to see the layout. The zoning board, there was a report on that already. Councilperson Yeager reported that the library had 5,000 more people into the library compared to 2020, and that was mostly due to COVID. They are reorganizing and do a lot with make and take crafts, working with recreation for a cookbook club, and they're taking donations. Well, they took donations for Mass Coast for Kids through the 15th of November. And at that time, the dog shelter had 3 dogs. I think they've only got 1 now, I'm not sure. They're doing a lot of repair work for the inspection, and the inspection's already taken place, and they passed the inspection. They would like to send a letter to the towns, with the exception of Clarkson, Sweden, and Parma, to not review the contracts. It's difficult to keep up all the paperwork on that. And the dog control officers asked the highway department to do some repairs at the shelter. Councilperson Hurlbut reported that Hamlin Morton Walker Fire District is moving forward with renovations to the Walker Fire Hall, and it'll be done in stages. And farm protection plan, they're waiting to hear back from Soil and Water, and hope to meet in early December to update and get ready for the application. And the highway superintendent is working on crack filling and repairs for the basketball and tennis courts, and major road work is done. And planning on next year's road work, getting ready for winter. From the recreation department, she was thanking Colleen and Betty Jo for all their help with the haunted highway, and that Joel had a great idea for the Run for Life race. She sees this becoming a destination spot. The sponsors were great and have signed on to sponsor fireworks at the Screamfest. There's a grant for having artists painting the containers in the park, and they hired a new administrative assistant, Josh Gerard, to take Maggie's place, and would like to do a calendar for volunteers for upcoming events. And Supervisor Peters reported that Scout Park project could include the LWRP future planning, in the LWRP future planning, and a possible pavilion for concerts, and added to the list for possible grants. And that was all.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Clark. We appreciate that very much. I also didn't make the zoning board, but thank you very much. Got some meeting notes here that I will review quickly. There was a preliminary hearing for Christopher Wegman of 29 Drake Road. It was open. He wants to put an 8-foot fence for privacy in his backyard. His elevation in the backyard slopes down, so we need the extra height. There was a speaker for 41 Hidden Creek who had no issues. There's also a speaker, Gary Goodwin of 30 Hidden Creek, who was not for it. There is a lot of hard feelings in that neighborhood which were brought up. At the end, Mr. Goodwin was escorted off the premises by a town lawyer. No, motion was made to accept the application. Preliminary hearing for Dean Hess of 300 Ketchum Road was opened. He would like a 32 by 48 pole barn that will be positioned in front of the main foundation of the house. He stated he needed it more up front so and not to be too close to a septic, There were no speakers, preliminary hearing was closed, or public hearing was closed, another motion was made to accept the application. There was Richard and Lisa Goodell of 19 Summer, I hope I got that right, of 19 Summer Haven Drive, looking for a CHA permit to build a 3-season room to the lakeside, front side of the house. The contractor was there to speak for them. He stated the exact footprint will be used to replace the decking, then add the 3-season room to it. And a motion was made to accept the application. And that was it. Anybody have anything on the meeting for last month? Okay, everybody have a problem? Everything okay with the meeting for next month, the assignments? Okay. The next meeting, just for everybody remember, is gonna be early in the month, being the 14th. So just remember, it'll be before the zoning board.
It's the day after the town board.
Yeah, it'll be after town board meeting, but it'll be before the zoning board meeting. All right, anything from the Friends of Hamlin Beach?
Yes, I do. We had a teleconference. Our previous meetings, we met in person because we could meet outdoors outside our shelter, but since the time changed, we're back to teleconference. But the tree work in camping areas A and C has been completed, and work will continue in area B until the snow flies. Excuse me. All the bathrooms have been shut down for the season, except in area 1 and the bathroom in area 4, which is closest to the shelter 5 in area 4. That bathroom is open, and they will be open all winter. All the shelters are locked for the winter. The main road will close just beyond area 2, as it does every year when we get our first snow. And at that time, also the road to the anti-marsh and the campground will close at that time too. Camping season 2022 will run from the weekend before Memorial Day until Columbus weekend. There will be a self-guided first hike on January 1st, 2022. Starting place will be at the park office. The theme, how animals survive over the winter. The Friends will not have a regular meeting now until March, but we will continue to communicate with one another to participate in projects and plan activities for next year.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Was there a zoning workshop?
I don't know.
No.
It's been canceled till January.
Okay, very good. Just made a comment that Janine and I were able to purchase 5 very good trees from Sarah's farm market. And then we paid she gave us a real good price, and they're $4.29 for the 5 trees, 2 sycamores, 2 maples, sugar maples, and 1 swamp oak. And we planted out here on the town campus. And she gave us the trees, but she also gave us some watering things that were out to use it for dry weather. They can put the water in there to feed the trees and stuff, right?
They're the ones that you see, in new construction. They have those bags.
Yeah, the green bags.
The green bags, and then it slowly
She was
seeps.
very, very helpful and very, very kind, and so I think it's probably something for the future. Remember, future day, work with her, right, help them, support them. But anyway, it was good, and I took them. Janine and I went and got him. I took him to Mike German in the afternoon around 1:30, and I don't know when he got him planted, but I know he was happy to have them there, and hopefully they'll survive.
I think it's a good time of year to plant.
I think it's better in the spring because they're not relying upon people taking care of them during the dry weather. At least now they have a month to get used to the.
And we've had a lot of wet weather, so they really haven't had to water them, I wouldn't think.
No, they wouldn't have to. I don't think it would. But anyway, I think that was something we should probably continue to do in the future. And very good. Anybody have anything else for the Conservation Board tonight? If not, we'll take a walk entertainment. Oh, I'm sorry, Sharon. That meant something.
We'd like to discuss, the board members, who they would like to see for the chairperson for 2022, so I can send a letter to the town board.
Okay.
Does anyone have any referrals? You have?
Yeah. For chairperson next year?
Yes.
Yeah. I'd like to nominate Steve
Okay,
Rutherford? I don't know if you want to do an actual vote, or it doesn't matter, or I think, I don't know, everybody has no problem with it?
and no problem for anybody else?
No.
No issues, okay. Everyone was in agreement, and I will get that letter out to present to them before the,
Okay,
for next year.
very good,
Okay.
very good, thank you, Sharon,
You're
thank you
welcome.
for making us take care of that. Very good, thank you very much. Does anybody have anything else for the conservation board tonight? I have a motion to, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Someone second, Steve, second? Very good, thank you very much, guys. And we'll open up the, Hamlin Waterfront Advisory Committee. And, with the same members present, and we'll go into, I guess we have one referral?
There was one referral, and it was the one that you mentioned that was at the zoning board meeting, 19 Summerhaven. I looked at that, and on the north side, the lake side of their property, they have a deck, and they're going to be putting in a 3-season room, in the same, removing the deck and putting the 3-season room right there where the deck is. And I didn't see any issue with that.
Any
at
issue?
all.
Okay.
No.
Very good. What's this one here from 70 Lake Road?
This is one where a gentleman wants to put in addition to the existing garage. But he's going to have to, at least go to planning for a conservation corridor development permit, because he's within 100 feet of Sandy Creek.
Okay.
So he decided to wait till the spring, but we thought we'd bring it to you, because,
Okay,
yeah,
And I, if you look at the diagram that came with this, not the diagram, but the site plan, you can see that there's Sandy Creek, and then there's these, I guess, boat slips, you know, that indented. So when you're trying to determine how far the lean-to will be from the creek, I guess, and I wanted to get the opinion of the board, it would be to these boat slips, I would think, as opposed to the actual edge of the creek. Because anything that might be hazardous to the creek would seep into the creek through those boat slips, you know, if there was any issue. So my guess, or my thought, is that if you're trying to determine whether they need a conservation corridor development permit, which is required if they're within 100 feet of Sandy Creek, that you would have to go to the edge of those boat slips. Do you see what the map I'm looking at, Steve, the site plan?
I agree with Janine's.
is that,
I agree with Janine.
okay, so instead of going to the creek, it's going to the edge of the boat slip.
Well,
Yes.
I would like, because I'm thinking if there's any issue with anything seeping into the creek, it could seep in through those boat slips too.
Okay,
So I think the distance should be measured from the edge of those, the shore edge of,
you're talking about from here to here,
yeah, the landward edge of these boat slips.
okay.
Because those are just filled with Sandy Creek water.
Mhm.
You see what I'm talking about, right? These
Yeah,
right here?
yeah.
I think it should be measured to there and not to the edge of the creek. I just wanted the input from the other board members.
Yeah. You know where is this, Steve?
Oh,
70 Lake Road East Fork, I'm not sure exactly where it is.
Okay, so what do we need to make anything, no, it's gonna go to the board?
Well, I guess he withdrew his application at this point, but he's thinking about
It shows it right here,
Yeah,
where it's located.
Oh, there it is.
and if he's digging footers for a lean-to, then does it need to go to the DEC? I don't know.
No, I'll check into that, but he doesn't wanna do it till the spring, so.
But I guess it doesn't make it, I mean, do you check into it now, or do you wait and see if he really does make an application?
Well, I can send him an email and let him know that it might behoove him to apply to the DEC, make an application and get that straightened away, cause that's not gonna change.
Right,
So that when he's ready to do it, we can go ahead, cause we'll have either DEC permit or we'll have DEC letter of no jurisdiction.
okay. I think that's probably a good idea.
Okay,
And then he'll be all set to start when he's ready
Right.
next year, if he chooses to go ahead with this.
All right.
And I suppose we could take the little measurement device that you have, Cheryl, the little wheel that you know,
Yes.
and actually measure it out so we'll know.
can do that, I can take care
I
of
think
that.
that's more accurate than just
Probably,
kind of.
probably next week.
So you're gonna walk to the property and measure it,
I'm gonna go
Jerry?
off the property.
Make sure
Yeah.
that, okay,
I'm gonna take my measuring wheel and
okay.
do it on the way to work one day.
Okay.
Yeah, Charlie Chick just lives a couple houses down from this. Yeah, the original owner had this, got cancer and passed away some years ago. But the marina's just down the road.
So you could probably picture where it is. Looking at this,
It's a good picture.
yeah, I'm trying to, I mean, looked at some of these houses, I've been trying to picture where it is, but,
So again, I can't really picture it, but I mean,
yeah.
I go down there and figure it out. Okay, very good, if you get our idea, okay, very good. Just to make another note, and if you wouldn't mind letting Carrie know, a reminder that the meeting's on the 14th, I'd appreciate it.
I will
just so
take
she
care of
doesn't
that,
forget.
yep.
She's not here. And, if anybody got anything else they would like to offer tonight? I just wanna thank everybody for coming and, appreciate your time and, entertain a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
I'll second that.
Very good.